Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a lake. It's pretty easy. So we're going to cut off all this brush down here and turn it into a lake. So first thing you need to do is do Control J like 2 times and make 2 copies of the background. One's going to be the reflection, one's just going to be the background, and this one down here we can turn off. That's going to be our backup copy just in case. So this one we will rename it Reflection. And you can click on the Move tool and then go over here to Arrange and flip it vertically. So now it's upside down. All right, now we need to figure out where we want our lake. You can really do anything you want. You could cut out a circle, you can do anything you want, but we're just going to cut off the whole bottom. So we're going to use the rectangular marquee tool and just figure where you want your lake and draw it and then delete and do Control D and that gets rid of your selection. Okay, now I'll get the Move tool again and click on the reflection layer, and now let's pull this down and put it wherever we want it. All right, we don't want the brush there anymore, and I'm actually going to push that up like that. And we're going to just squish it a little. So let me pull it back down. There. Because reflections are a little squished sometimes. All right, they're never perfect. I haven't seen a perfect one. Okay, now we're going to put a mask on the reflection layer and come over here and get the gradient tool and draw a gradient on the mask. And click up here in this little box and change the gray. Click on the gray circle and change it to black. There we go. And you can do it however you want. You can have hardly any reflection, lots of reflection. We'll put ours about there. Okay, now click on the layer, and we're also going to lower the opacity just a bit. Now come up here to Layer and New Fill Layer and drag that down under the reflection. And it can be any color that you want. I suggest using a color from the sky, if you have a blue sky, because that's what a lake is. It's reflecting the sky. So just click in the color box up here. Get the dropper tool and find a color in the sky that you like. And change it to that. It was already close. You can do anything you want. You can just move the sliders around. You can have a green lake. You can have a brown lake. You can use this to make ponds and just have the water just dark. You don't have to have a color at all. All right. Now we're going to go to the reflection layer and go up here to Layer and New Light Filter Layer, Blur, and we want Motion Blur. Only on the reflection layer. And it needs to be horizontal, so either 0 or 180, either way is going to work. And you want to just drag it over until it gets a little bit of blur. As much as you want. Your lake can be very turbulent or very calm. Ours is going to be about that. All right. And now we're going to add, another reflection up here. So we need to click on this background layer. And we're just going to get our marquee tool again, and we're going to get this part. There we go. But instead of deleting it, do Control J. And then Control D again to get rid of the selection. And now with the Move tool, we're going to stretch it a little and lower it. And we're going to bring it under the background. Maybe put up. You can use the arrow keys too. And now we're going to come up here to Layer, New Light Filter Layer, Blur, and we're going to do Motion Blur again. But this time we want it straight down at 270 degrees. And slide that over. And if you do Preserve Alpha, watch, it makes that straight line, so don't do that. That doesn't look good. So you can have it as blurry as you want. You don't want it to totally go away, but you don't want it to look really hard either. Like that. We don't want that. Somewhere in between. All right, and you can always come back and readjust because it's on its own layer. All right, and something else you can do is we're going to come in and we're going to put a mask on that, and then get the brush tool. Just push B on your keyboard, and make sure you have black, and make it a little bigger. And the opacity, drop the opacity down about halfway. Oops, and click on the mask, there we go. And go through and kind of, let's make sure we have a fluffy brush. I don't know what it's doing, there we go. I probably had the wrong brush. All right, there we go. No! I have to change the opacity again for each brush. Okay, there we go. Don't want it all to go away, that's still too much. How about in the 20s? There we go. You just want spots of it to go away. Little bits here and there. Let's change the flow too. That way it breaks it up so it's not just a straight line. That's better. Just go through and just erase little parts. And if you make a mistake, you can just change the color to white and paint it back on. That's why masks are so nice. All right, there. So now it kind of disappears in some places. It's just an illusion. All this is just an illusion. Makes your mind think you're seeing it. There we go. All right, one more thing you can do is on the original background layer, just the mountains and the sky. Come down here to Effects and do Outer Shadow. And I'm just going to bring it up so you can see. There we go. And you can change the intensity. And you can change the opacity. You can decide how big you want it. What it does is it helps, where did it go? There, see, it just helps create, I don't like that there. It helps create an illusion of separation from the lake and the land. All right, so now I want to add some texture to my lake. So there's a real easy way to do this. At least I think it is. This is how I do it a lot. And as you find a picture kind of like this, and I took this the other day. I was sitting at a lake and I was just sitting there, so I decided to just take pictures of the waves because it's so hard to find just a plain old picture of a wave. So I took a whole bunch of different ones of these and I made them into texture overlays. And let me show you how I do it. It's really easy. Just go up here to Filter, Frequency Separation, and move it up until you see the waves here, however you like them, however strong you want them to be, and click Apply. And then you can just delete the low frequency layer. Copy the high frequency layer, and come over here and paste. And there you go. It's that easy. Now you have texture. So I made a whole bunch of these textures and I put them on my website so you don't have to go to all that trouble if you don't want, because it is hard to find these boring pictures of lakes. Found lots of fancy pictures of lakes. All right, so just adjust it however you want. And then we're going to probably fade it a little. Let's change the opacity. And there we go. And we also want to, once you get it where you want it, come click the perspective tool and just pull it out. Oh, why is it doing that? There. There we go. Just pull it out like that and up. Let me zoom out a little bit for a second. There. And that will give you, that might have been too much, but yeah, that's what you need to do. Change the perspective, and then it makes the water look like it's coming out instead of straight down. And there's one more thing you can do to add a little more texture if you want to. I think that might be too much. There's make a new layer, make it on top, and you want to get the brush tool And you want white paint this time. And the brush you want to use, come down here to the engraving brushes. These come with Affinity Photo, so you should have them. And I used this top one, but I changed it a lot. Just double click on it. I'll show you what I did. But if you're going to change it, I recommend clicking duplicate because I can't go back and I forgot what the original settings were. If you duplicate it first, then it makes a copy down at the bottom of your list. And then you can play around with that one without messing up this brush. But since I don't use it that much, it's not a big deal. But if you worry about that kind of thing, then definitely duplicate it first. And then on your duplicate, make all the changes. So what I did was the changes I made were on the general tab here. I changed the size to 128 and the spacing. I changed that to about 41 through somewhere between 40 and 45%. I played with it a little bit. And that's all I changed on that tab, I believe. And on the Dynamics tab, I changed the size to 45% and the flow all the way down to 0. And I played around with this scatter Y one. So what that does is as I'm dragging the brush across the screen, it will put the color down some higher and some lower. And the higher up that you move this, that you drag this slider, the further away it makes it. Let me show you real quick. So this is what it's going to do. Oops, well, that was my fault. All right, let's try again. There we go. So some goes a little higher, some goes a little lower. So if we slide this all the way over and try and drag it straight, see now you got some way up here, some way down there. So just put it wherever you want. And over here, they say random. This one says direction because it's based on where you're going, up or down or sideways. But this one says random, and this one says random. If you're using a pad with a pen, a drawing pad, then change this one to pressure. But if not, if you're just using a mouse, then just leave it at random or put it on random. I think it comes on pressure. All right. And then you should have something that looks like this when you're done. Now we're going to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. Okay, so with our white paint on our new layer, we're just going to drag this across. All right, my mouse pad today is a book and it's messing up my mouse. There we go. Just drag it across, make some lines here and there. You don't want too much in one spot. Just, all over the place. And it'll randomly size it and everything for you. It's okay if you accidentally get some up there. We'll fix it. All right. So now we're going to come up here to layer. And we're going to go to blur. We're going to get the motion blur for this one too. And we want to, don't go too far. Because then it just makes straight lines, which can look good. Depends on the kind of lake. If you're having a really smooth lake, then these streaks, these little white streaks, look good on a really smooth lake. Ours is a little bit turbulent, so we're going to have ours go down a little more. Not too much. I don't want, we definitely want to blur it. We don't want it to look like a bunch of dots that we painted on the screen or on our picture. All right, that should be good. And now we'll get the move tool again. We can scrunch them up a bit, and we're going to lower those so they're in the water. And you can also do the perspective tool on this. So let's grab those corners and just pull them out and up a little and click apply. And we'll zoom back in. And there you go. So it just adds a little bit of extra texture. Sometimes you see that on lakes. And this one, I just think is too bright still. You can lower it. There we go. Just want the waves barely detectable. You can blur them too if you want. I don't think these really need it. And you can blur these a bit more if you wanted. So that's how easy it is to just make a lake. So now you can go and do whatever else you want to this picture. So we're going to come down here to adjustments and we're going to change the white balance a little. We're just going to warm it up a little. Make it look like a nice sunset. And then we can change the lighting. Just go to layer, new light filter layer, and lighting. And you want that to be on top. Drag it up there. There we go. And I'm going to move that over there so it's out of the way. Okay. And you can decide where you want the lighting to come from. It could be coming from below, above, the side. You can change it from spot to point. I usually get rid of the specular when I do that. There we go. That looks good on this picture. Just kind of center the light. Kind of makes a little vignette around the sides. You can change the blend mode. Multiply will make it darker. I like what multiply does to the lake. I think it makes the colors of the lake look really good, the reflection. So, I don't know. I think we might leave it like that. Maybe just change the opacity? No. Yeah. Kind of looks good that way. We'll leave it at multiply. But you can play around with any of the blend modes and do anything you want to these pictures. And the more you do to them, I think the better it blends the lake with the background to make it look more real. So just have fun with it, and that's all it is to making lakes. So I hope you found something useful in this video. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more. Oh, and don't forget to look in the description for the links to this picture that I found on Pixabay and to the texture overlays that you can get from my website. So thanks for watching.